How you going, mate? I'm the Dusty Bogan.
Lovely to meet you. Dusty Bogan, was it?
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
You like my hat?
I do like your hat. Yeah, I do.
Sweet, bro. So here to you were born at 29 weeks.
That's correct. I was rather premature, both being born and in the bedroom. And I am here because I don't feel baby should be able to be terminated up to 37 weeks or due to gender. I do believe that abortions are a necessary thing in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Domestic violence or sexual assault, or if someone's mentally or physically incapable. But I would say up to 20 weeks for choice or social reasons, as the term's used, should be acceptable.
It should be.
Not acceptable and highly tolerated, but if it needs to occur, it can occur. I mean, there's always the option of adoption, but then there is also the emotional labor of carrying the baby through rather than aborting it. But I feel both are very flawed.
Yeah. Because, I thought today, so the new legislation and what it's putting forward, and I thought the crowd's bigger. We went to, I was here at the start of the year, there was probably 2,000 people. We've had about 4,000 people, maybe more. And I think, this new law is a bit too far. So, someone like yourself, you think abortion, hey, I can see where it could be there could be some situations where abortion is reasonable. But you see that and then you see this new law and you're like, hang on a minute, this is going a bit too far.
Yeah, 100% correct. I feel there are cases where it would be needed. I don't think it should be outright disallowed or made illegal. But 37 weeks and due to gender is ridiculous. I mean, at 29 weeks I was born and I'm a fully functional human. To kill a baby at 37 weeks is manslaughter.
Yeah.
To kill a baby at anything more than, I would say, I believe at 24 weeks a baby is able to breathe oxygen outside of the womb. So I believe anything more than 20 weeks is manslaughter, yes.
Because I think I even, like yourself, was a bit more maybe under circumstances the pressure's on, someone is really under the pump and then they just feel it's best to get rid of this baby. I was sort of like that, and then I think someone said to me they said finish this sentence and it's it's okay to kill a baby in the womb when, and I was like, oh crap. And I'm just, talking to other people, I think I've probably gone more so nah, I'd prefer not to have abortion. Do you know what I mean? But I think obviously we've got to have the conversation and it's not I believe in freedom of speech, so we've got to let people have their say, and it's not
the problem is it's such a complicated issue, and I mean abortion dates back thousands of years. It's been happening for a very long time. But I think in the modern age, with the medicine that we have available, it should be allowed to be done under certain circumstances and within certain guidelines, but not to 37 weeks. That is not to the point where a baby is able to live outside of the womb.
I would love, for me, I would love to see, and it's probably far off, but just that if we could have abortions being going to the dentist, where, say dentist now, you have to pay for your own dental, right?
Well, it's the same as abortions as well.
You have to.
Yeah, you do have to. I've looked into it. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You have to pay.
Yeah. I believe it starts around $500.
Damn. Well, I'm glad I don't have to pay for it, mate. Because I just think for myself, if there's these ideas, a lot of these left-wing ideas, I think to myself, why are we paying for it? Why do I have to pay for this? I think it should be completely defunded and allow people to go to private clinics and pay for it themselves.
I believe in Queensland it is somewhat defunded. I think there is a Medicare rebate for it, but I know there is a cost of it. I believe it could be starting at $500.
Okay, sweet, man. I reckon remove all funding from it and then just let them go get bloody... Because, look, if you have I know dentists, right? Well, they don't have payment plans and they don't have bloody any of that. If you want to get your teeth fixed, you got to pay for it out of your own pocket. And I think it should be like that. I think myself that you shouldn't be able to get an abortion past 10 weeks. I don't know. If you're pregnant, you miss your period, then you're like, oh no, I'm pregnant. You do the test, you go to the doctor, you're actually pregnant. How come they can't just get an appointment, get it done quickly, why are these people waiting and waiting? Because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know in my heart, I feel like this person is a life that's been snuffed out because the potential of it being life is a reality.
I agree with that.
So like
it is
that,
a life that's been just it's been
so like
taken
that
away. Yeah.
to me, it's like, oh, and I know, like was a youth leader for 10 years. I grew up, wasn't great, some bad crap going on, and like I think even if you have a bad life,
You still have a life.
you still have a life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like the other hard questions for me, and I'm like, oh god, like it's not easy, is it? It's not easy.
It's a very difficult subject, and we're not going to get to the end of it today. We're not going.
No.
We'll never get to the end of it.
And I don't think anyone here, right, like if people here and they're staunch, like, nah, abortion shouldn't happen, I don't think anyone is like really wanting to pick or hurt or harm or condemn women who have had abortions. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think like there's enough common sense on
It's
this
not
side of the
malicious.
argument. Yeah, like it's not malicious, and there's enough people on this side of the argument that it's not that way. Do you know what I mean? I think we'd be like, nah, that's in bad taste. Yeah.
I do kind of feel that the protesting outside of abortion clinics is a little bit too far, because you have very vulnerable people and they're having people getting in their face. So I feel that that's definitely not right.
Yeah.
I think adoption would be the preferred option every single time. Every single time, adoption would be the preferred option. But I don't believe that that's always something that's able to be done.
Yeah, it's hardcore. I know of friends who have actually gone and with the pickets, like picketed a abortion clinic, eh?
Yeah.
And I was like, how did that go? And they were sort of like, it was a bit weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, we did it anyway. And they were like, I think they said, like, they were like, we weren't malicious about it. It was just stand there off to the side, and like maybe they went up without the sign, like, hey, can we have a chat?
I'm not saying
know,
not
like-
saying that they're malicious or they're doing malicious things, but I can see, like, if I put myself in the shoes of, say a young woman who's facing domestic violence, is 16, 15, whatever weeks pregnant, and then going to, have an abortion because you have to, because there's no other option, and then people are there stigmatizing you because of that. I feel it could add additional trauma. You're already through the trauma of having the abortion, or when you leave the clinic after having the abortion, and then you have those people there. So you're rethinking your decision that you made, and then you have people there reinforcing that.
And
It
like,
is.
then I've heard of cases where someone has approached them outside a clinic and they've been like, I'm not doing it. And then the kid grows up and these kids are like at these rallies.
Yeah.
I think I seen one in America and it was like, I went and was going to abort this baby and now we're here today, like 18 years later. And you're like, far out, dude. Like, that is a real person. Like, it's hardcore as. It's a terrible situation. I wonder if that would be reaching into people's freedom of speech, like.
Well, I just hope the Labour Party makes a sensible choice. It doesn't push to 37-week abortions.
Because the current laws would probably be sensible.
20 weeks, and if there's
Is that the current law?
20 weeks, from my readings, 20 weeks, and it's only if there's like a psychological problem which would affect the woman from having the baby, or a medical or physical problem.
So like these women, obviously they get pregnant and it's going well for them and then they're changing their
Or
mind.
maybe they're in a bad place when they do get pregnant. Or it could be also from incest or rape is another thing as well.
yeah.
But I'm sure there's also a lot of young women who get pregnant at, say, 18, 19, or even younger probably. And the prospects of them raising that child are impossible. And maybe they don't really want to adopt that child out because of what could happen there.
So like, I wonder if they would do something like, I don't know, make condoms, like remove all tax on them, make them so dirt cheap so no one has an excuse. Like, should we make it more accessible?
You can get free condoms, but they're shit condoms. They you never use free
break and you get
condoms.
pregnant anyway?
No, they're just really thick.
Ah,
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah.
They think
so
you're a real savage.
yeah,
who, like,
I think you're gonna tear that shit up. But yeah, never
hardcore
cheap out
as
on
a-
condoms.
Never cheap out,
Yeah,
you reckon?
yeah,
And then the pill, sometimes girls don't like the pill. It makes
yeah. It
them
makes
go
them
funny
fat.
or
Makes them
fat.
fat.
Or,
Yeah. I mean,
tough situation.
the morning after pill is always a great option, but I'm sure it doesn't. It's not
So
necessarily a good
there's so
thing.
many options right now, and I think the stats. I think someone said 10,000. Someone else said 14,000.
Yeah,
aborted
I
in
heard
Queensland.
14,000. From what I've read, 14,000 is
That's a lot.
is the number. Yeah,
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Like in 10 years, it's
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And then like in 20 years, 30 years, them having kids, like the compounding of,
Yeah.
we probably wouldn't need to immigrate a single soul if we weren't aborting these children.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So there's always more layers. But if there's a reasonable conversation, we probably could get there. Like if we did like a Joe Rogan 3 hour and we had half of these people from the left and right, we probably could get there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd probably get like a better understanding. And then culturally, it would probably be good for people to watch and be like, fuck, I've been through that. Or I was, you know what I mean?
Well, I think we've spoken to a lot of people today that have the same opinion, but we've tried to have both males and females who have spoken to, but we haven't really spoken to anyone who's been through that we know of that's been through that process. So I think that would be great if we could get someone to come and speak about the process of what was going through their mind and what happened. But I think that'd be very hard to get someone to come and talk about that.
I wonder if, like, because the counter protester stormed past screaming and yelling. Did you see him earlier on? Maybe
I just thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was.
Maybe 20.
Oh no, they were vegan protesters.
They were vegan.
They were vegan protesters. I went and spoke to them. Yeah.
They were vegan.
They were vegan protesters.
Where was a vegan protester?
I think I'm walking down to King George. No, they had vegan signs. Yeah,
okay,
I went and asked one of them for an interview.
Do you reckon a vegan is anti-abortion?
Funnily enough, I'd say most vegans would be relatively pro-abortion.
Is that like counter? Is that just like?
I can't speak for all vegans because obviously I'm not a vegan myself, but I would say a lot of vegans are left-leaning, and the left seem to be very much in favour of abortions because they see it as being part of autonomy of the female anatomy, and they feel that by banning abortions or restricting abortions, we're taking away the freedom of women. Where I think in a way it's not necessarily like that, but then again, it's not really my realm to speak into.
The guy was saying today, he said something about this is gender select abortion that's going to get passed.
Yes,
and he said there's like 1 million girls have been aborted because...
Correct. So it's women who are... It's girls who are losing out, because people want sons, so they're finding out... And they're doing the scans later on, say 32 weeks, finding out they're having a daughter and they abort it.
It's like China has like a women drought and all this stuff.
Yeah, because their one-child policy, which now is... Their one-child policy is aborted, funnily enough, but they
must have aborted millions of people, millions and millions.
I think they waited till they were born because they didn't have the ability to.
You're joking me, and then
so they'd wait until they were born and then they'd kill the babies.
That's hardcore as. I know, like, some guy told me, I heard this dude preaching, and he said something like, early Christianity, the Romans used to leave the baby girls out in the snow because they only wanted sons, and the Christians would come along and save the little girls. And next thing, the church was just full of women, and then all these like barbarians and Romans were became Christian to find a wife. I think that's a funny story. Do you know what I mean? I wonder in the future if it's like everyone just aborted their daughters besides from the conservatives and the Christians and stuff, and it's like, you know, everything turned around and they became Christian. I don't know.
Well, I think on average conservative women are about at least 15 to 20% more attractive than left-leaning women. So
especially when they're in the kitchen, like, no, I'm joking. It's true. All right, mate, you're a real star.
Lovely to speak to you again.
Yeah, good on you, bro.
Cheers.
Thank you.